Hey everybody. Whew. A little behind today. Been really busy. But I just want to get out here and share some thoughts on where is Nancy Guthrie. Back to the beginning. So I just want to go ahead and touch base with everybody and see if anybody had any thoughts, opinions on where Nancy Guthrie might be and how this case is slowly unfolding. And I do mean slowly. So just waiting for a few people to get on here. Sorry I'm a little late, but better late than never, as they say. Hello. Just waiting on for a few people to go ahead and jump in. Give your comments and perspectives on where's Nancy Guthrie. There you go. Give your perspectives on where's Nancy Guthrie. Let's get it. So, it's definitely unraveling slowly. I mean, literally slowly. So what do you all think? Anybody got any opinions? Any opinions as to where is Nancy Guthrie? So there's some information coming out right now. There is something's happening. A lot of scuttlebutt has been made about Savannah's interview and the comments that she made literally on Dateline when she came out and she did that hour long with Hoda Kotb. There was some things that, came out there that we did not know. How are you doing? Good to have you. Nice to have you. Thank you for being here. It's nice to meet you too. Hoorah. So the idea, see, Deb is in the house. I'm just going to say Deb. It's an easier way to pronounce it. Good to have you. Thank you for being here. So, the idea that literally we never knew that the back door was open. It was left open. And no one had a clue. Now, a lot of big issues have been made because people have been saying, and even people with a lot of credentials have been saying, I'm good, brother. I am good. Thank you. I am from Ohio. Good to have you. Thank you so much. Semper Fi. So, the idea that Savannah Guthrie did that interview and she came out and said that the back door was open when she had made contact with her sister, Annie, and then said that her mom was taken with no shoes. Now, we've caught some things like that before, but we've never literally knew for a fact because no one ever released that information. So what you're having is you are having literally Savannah is the daughter who works for on the Today Show of Nancy Guthrie. That's who Savannah is. She is the youngest of the three. Got you. So, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. So, that is what's going on, is that the idea that literally Annie had told Savannah that the back door was open. And we really didn't know that. Gay is in the house. All right. Good to have you. So that's been really interesting, because the idea that literally we didn't know that for a fact, you know, and that Savannah had said that her mom was in her pajamas when she was taken. That's interesting and important, because we didn't know that either. Now, some people have criticized that she shouldn't have done that interview because she may have hurt the case more than helped it. I don't necessarily buy that. Okay? I don't necessarily buy that at all, because the fact of the matter is, that's her mom. And the idea that she purposely went ahead and literally, like, I don't want to say sabotage the case, but said things that were not really permissible is crazy. Okay? We all assumed that the report was from Sheriff Nano's Pima County Sheriff's Office that Nancy was taken from her bed. So we knew that. The common sense thing is we just didn't know how or what. And so the idea to go ahead and suggest, great to have you from India. Ooh, Ross, thank you for being here. So the idea, don't forget to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe, everybody. Timmy's in the house. All right, Timmy, I will do that. When you grow a pair, I will do that. Always getting the little spammers. So that's really what's going on there. And the idea that people would say that she hurt her case, I think is really crazy. I don't think that's even, I mean, to sit there and say that doesn't make any sense to me, in all honesty. Just saying. Because of the fact that the idea is that that's how it usually happens, you know what I mean? Don't forget, subscribe and like if you enjoy the commentary here of the Nancy Guthrie case. Now, I get it, some people are not going to agree with it. Give me 1 second, everybody. So the idea that she made a mistake by doing the interview, I don't know if I'd consider it a mistake. Some of that information was already out that Nancy had been taken from her bed. We just didn't know how and why. Thank you. Appreciate you, Gay. Thank you. So the idea here is that she's been taking a lot of criticism, I guess, to put it mildly. A lot of criticism. But here's the thing. I think, honestly, she needs to get a lot of this out, because some of the stuff was not getting out, unfortunately. You know? Nano's never said anything about her being taken without her shoes. And that's important, because I mean, if you're out there driving in the middle of the night or early morning and you see a lady in a back seat of a vehicle Okay, let's just say she was transported in a vehicle and you see a lady in the back seat and she's wearing a nightgown. That's going to jog in your memory. You're going to remember that. It's pretty common sense. Now, I'm telling you this from law enforcement, okay? I've worked many years in law enforcement with many cases, and that's going to stick to you. That is going to stick with you, no doubt. So it would be important to let the people know, hey, it's believed that she might have been in her pajamas. He could have said that. Okay? Because if she was taken out of her bed, or as it was stated, then you're actually saying, in fact, that she probably was in her pajamas. I mean, it was early in the morning, right? When she was taken, when she was abducted. So we got to remember that. I don't think there's a whole lot of evidence to show that the family had anything to do with this. I have said in the past, I would just like to know why the son-in-law, Tommaso, who dropped her off at her house, is the last person to see her. Why didn't the cameras capture any type of photo of the car pulling in? Because this was early morning. And actually, it wasn't early morning. It was about 9:40, 9:50. So it was dark. So you would have seen the headlights pulling in, and you would have seen the tail lights coming on when he hit his brakes to get back on the road, right? But yet there's nothing. There's no pictures, no nothing. So in that aspect, I'm a little curious why not. Just curious why not. Because here's the thing, everybody. I have seen pictures of what it looks like in the Catalina Hills where Nancy lives. They're not allowed street lights. They're not allowed lights anywhere. They're not allowed to have any type of light, pole lights out there on the street. For whatever reasons, they like it dark. And so you would see the headlights of a vehicle. You would see the tail lights of somebody hitting their brake. The fact of the matter is, we've already seen still pictures of cars passing by, right? Cars passing by. We have seen that. So if we're able to see cars passing by and you can see the brightness of the headlights, how can we not see a person dropping her off? I just don't know how that's possible. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm not saying the family had anything to do with it, because a part of me really thinks that the family didn't have anything to do with it. But I would like that little detail to be answered. I wish somebody would answer that, because that creates a lot of doubt. And that itself, answering that question, could absolutely give more credence that this individual had nothing to do with it. Once again, this is just my thoughts. So you have to understand how that happens. You have to understand how that works. And the idea of wondering could go away if the sheriff would just had said that. Yeah.
Hey, question.
Quick, because I'm on live.
Yeah, by any chance, do you know Faith's social security card number?
Mom has it.
Yeah, we keep trying to get a hold of Mom. She's not answering. Okay, no. You're good. If I send you a picture, do you think you can try and figure out what the numbers are?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me just send you it. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Sorry about that, everybody. So that's the idea. You know, that's how it works. That's how it goes. You know? And so if Nanos would have just said that from the very beginning, it would have been a lot easier to understand. Literally. it would have been a lot easier to understand. You know what I mean? That would make sense to me. So we need to figure out why Nanos did not want to give that information out. We need to know why he didn't want to give that. I know sometimes they hold on to information. You know, I get it. Give me a second here, everybody. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. So what is your all's thoughts on what has happened? What is your thoughts on what's going on? What is your thoughts? I mean, everybody has left the area. This pizza's done. So, who do you think is a likely person of interest? Who do you all think could have made this happen? See, that's the best I could tell you. Now, I've told you, and by now you should know the initials LD. I told you who I thought would be the likely a good person of interest was LD, because there was a lot of information that wasn't given. There was a lot of information that just wasn't, it wasn't there, if you will. And sometimes you got to give these people something. Harley Davidson says, hello, my fellow Kamala voter. Semper Fi, thank you for being here. Just having that conversation of what could have happened to Nancy Guthrie and who would be a likely perspective. Thank you so much. Greg, Trump, American Pride. Hey, that's how our country rolls, Greg. If that's what you like, that's all that matters. That's how our country votes. That's how our country does it. Amen. Thank you for being here. I have no problems with people who support Trump. None. That's how our country rolls. But I do think things are not going well right now. And I think we can all agree with that. But that's up for another topic. We want to stick with Nancy Guthrie. So what is your all's opinion? Harley, what's your opinion on Nancy? What do you think happened? Or you, Greg, what do you think happened? Literally. I mean, I could tell you that definitely there is some stuff that's there. No doubt about it. We know something happened because we know now that she was taken from her bedroom. We know that Savannah Guthrie confirmed, her daughter, that she was literally taken with no shoes and possibly even Thank you. You too. So we know that this stuff happened. We just don't know exactly how it happened. Let's see here. 4th Street. 610 First. All right, we're on the move. So, yes, it's very important to understand that. Very important to understand that. So that's what I'm seeing. How much gas prices? YouTube administration says how much gas prices out there? About $3.99 to anywhere from $3.99 to maybe $4.05. YouTube Administrator 69. That's about what it is. About $3.99 to $4.05, just depending on where you go. Some places it's a tad bit less than $4, but it's it's a lot higher than what it was. Let's just say that. So back to Nancy. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're having. That's what's going on. Greg says so many theories that's been brought up. It's hard to distinguish. They had a guy on camera. I mean, they had the perp on camera. It's just trying to figure out exactly who that profile fits. Now, I've seen a lot of still pictures and a lot of pictures of different people, and the odd thing about it is a lot of them look the same. In all honesty, a lot of them look the same. L Witch Doctor, thoughts on Palm Beach Pete? I think that guy's a character. I think he is running literally on the fact that, you know, he's capitalizing, no doubt about it. He's running with it. He's getting his fame that he probably never got before in a long time. So Palm Beach Pete, hey, ride the storm, because you know what? Right now his algorithms are going off the chart, no doubt. The one thing that's kind of a little troubling is that he literally did go to parties where Jeffrey Epstein was at. That was a little intriguing. That was like, what? Yeah, exactly. He actually went there to some of his parties. Not necessarily the island, but he has been to places where he has had his parties. So that's kind of odd. No doubt. All right, everybody, give me 1 second. I want to have this conversation. Give me 1 second. Yeah, Palm Beach needs to just ride out the storm. In all honesty, that man needs to ride out the storm because he's. All right. Yeah, he knew Jeffrey Epstein, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Um, I mean, he does kind of look like him. Um, but you always have a twin out there somewhere, right? Don't they call it like a double or I don't know, there's a nickname they have for it. You know what I mean? So everybody has somebody that looks like him somewhere. But let's get back to Nancy. Appreciate the question. Thank you so much. And Witch Doctor, appreciate that. That's it. Doppelgangers. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I've heard that before. So we all have somebody like that, right? I mean, let's not kid ourselves. There's a lot of people on this planet. So the other thing is going back to Nancy, what do you all think? Do you guys got a person of interest? Tell me what you think. Oh, got you. German for lookalike. Did not know that. Thank you. Appreciate that, little doctor. I appreciate that. Because, hey, you learn something new every day. I did not know that. I just knew it was the doppelganger or whatever in the hell. I've heard that before, but interesting. But that's pretty much what it is. Nancy, I mean, it's been now going what? 59 days, 60 days, 58 days? I mean, it doesn't look good, honestly. It really doesn't. I think literally we need to go ahead and start thinking outside the box. I don't think we're going to hear anything literally anymore that's going to talk about that golden nugget that we want. I think that ship has sailed. We're not going to hear no golden nugget. In fact, the only thing we're going to hear, in all honesty, is probably going to be breaking news. Literally, you're going to hear breaking news. There has been somebody arrested for the abduction of Nancy Guthrie. And I think we're all going to hear that together. Literally, in my opinion. That's what we're going to hear. Because there's nothing more that they can give us that's literally going to make any sense, that's going to be surprising. I think the information we're looking for is right in front of us. I think the information is right in front of us, literally. What do you all think? What do you all think? Anybody got any takes? Any ideas? What do you all think about LD? Do you think he is a very good person of interest? Let's hear it. Let's hear your thoughts on LD. Do you know who I'm talking about when I say LD? Do you have any thoughts of when I talk about LD? Hang on that thought. If you could leave a tip, I normally don't ask, but gas is pretty high, 10 minutes away. It's quite a distance. If you could leave a tip, I would really appreciate it. Thank you, on my way. Gene! Gene's in the house. What's going on, Gene? There was no mention about Annie and Tommy's house being $600,000 supposedly. Nancy put in $225,000 on it. I'm actually surprised it wasn't paid off, right? I can agree with that. Gene said hi. I totally agree with that, Gene. Yeah, I didn't know that she put that much down on that house, and she probably did it so that they would be close to her too. So, I mean, it was probably to not only to help them out, but in the long run, they would be close to her and they'd be able to keep an eye on her. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that I could see that, but yeah, that's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money. Does anybody have an opinion in the chat about literally anything in reference to who they think would be a good perp or a good person of interest, let's say? Anybody? Who you think, Gene? Who do you think might be a good person of interest? You all know where I stand. Let me hear where you guys stand. Don't forget, if you're watching, click like and subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Nothing at all. What do you think, Gene? Tell me your top two. I'll start off with your top one. Tell me your top one, everybody. Who is the person you think is a good person of interest? Want to hear it? Let's hear it. Still awaiting. Come on, chat. Let's hear. Who do you think is a good person of interest in the Nancy Guthrie case? Anybody? Any takers? Anybody? Who do you have as a person of interest in the Nancy Guthrie abduction? Who do you have as a good person of interest? What do you think about the cop that just got arrested? Gene, I think it's horrible. I think it was just sickening to me. As law enforcement in my career, that was just, and then at the timing of all things, for God's sake. That, to me, I think they need to throw the book at this guy. I really do. I really, truly do. I mean, you can't go ahead and be someone that's supposed to protect the community and then go do something so, well, I guess what I would call asinine, in my opinion. You just can't do that. I'm telling you, LD is my number one person of interest. My number one person of interest. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. There is no doubt in my mind. He is my number one guy. You know what I mean? Trying to do too many things here. That is my number one suspect, literally. My number one suspect, or person of interest, should I say. Without a doubt. Gene says, do you think he was, let's see, put a mask on here? Oh, absolutely. I mean, here's the thing. Most of the people that you have pictures of and still photos of are people that they all look the same. The guy at the back with the fence trying to unlatch the fence at the top. You got, you also got the guy that 2 weeks prior was caught on somebody's door cam canvassing the area. I mean, it's crazy. LD, you put a mask on any one of them and it looks like literally they are the perp, or they could be the perp, should I say. So yeah, it is very, very eye-opening. No doubt. No doubt. And that's very troubling, in my opinion. Yeah, you need to. Everything I have looked on LD, man, there's just too many coincidences. Oh, no doubt he was involved. He is my number one person of interest. That, you know, truth be told, he is my number one person of interest. There's just too many things that link him in the area that literally could have easily, I mean, it just links him. It just links him. Now, does that mean that he did it? Well, of course not. We don't have that evidence, that solid evidence that you need. But we do know that absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, that too many coincidences only lead to probabilities. Sooner or later, you're going to hit it. You have all these things that are happening continuously. Sooner or later, one of them is going to go ahead and pan out. That's what I think. That's what I think. Let's see where we're going here. Second here. All right, everybody, give me a second. Leave it by the garage. It's going to be that door. Just talking to myself, everybody. Just bear with me. Okay. That's it. Okay, that's it. Oh, fucking prick. All right. Give me a second, everybody. Give me a second. Give me a sec. All right, I'm back. I am back. Let's see. Hang on, everybody. Just trying to get things organized here. All right. All right. Ready to roll. So, yes, I think there's just too many coincidences for him not to be the individual, in my opinion. I just don't see it. I think he is definitely a person of interest, big time. And I could tell you everything about it as to why. I could tell you everything about it as to why. Hang on. There's a lot of reasons as to why I think he is the person of interest. Who else? Who else do you think might have been involved in the Nancy Guthrie abduction? Sorry, just trying to get my layout here, everybody. Trying to get everything situated the way I like it. So that's why it seems kind of chaotic. So just bear with me. So I still haven't been able to find when did he total, LD total his blue. What day did it happen? I still don't know when that 911 call came in that there was a lady hanging outside the window screaming for help during that same exact time, or very darn close to the time frame of when Nancy was abducted. So I haven't been able to find the time that 911 call was made to Pima County Sheriff's Office to the time when they actually stopped him. Was it 25? Was it 25 minutes? Was it 30 minutes? Was it 40 minutes? I mean, you're talking early in the morning. You're going to drive. You're not probably going to be hauling butt. So they're saying usually it takes them about 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes to show up. I would like to know the time in between, literally, the 911 call and the time when they actually made contact with that person in that vehicle. I also would like to know how many people were in that vehicle. Because it's not always what you see, sometimes it's what you don't see. I mean, think about it. If somebody is screaming for help and people start to panic because someone is screaming for help, someone says, "You better shut her up, she's going to get us caught." Someone strikes her, hits her with maybe a weapon or an object. Her heart can't take it. She now is unalive. Now they're really freaking out because I do believe this was a ransom all about money. So they literally take her out. They literally take her somewhere real quick and close, pull her out of the vehicle, go ahead and hurry up and dig just a little trench. I'm not talking about a big 6-foot ground area, but a little spot. Throw her in there, leave. Later, they come back maybe 2 hours later when that has calmed down. They get stopped. That's why it's important to know the time frame. They get stopped. All of a sudden, I do believe there was two males and one female that was involved in all this. Now you say, why one female? It's just, I don't know. It's just a gut feeling. Just a gut feeling that there was a woman and two men who did this. And I think that it's very possible that when the sheriffs or whoever made contact with this vehicle said, "Hey, we got a report of somebody screaming for help. We're checking these blue vehicles. Or is everything all right?" "Oh, yes, officer. We just got into an argument. Everything's good to go. We didn't, there was no physical contact. We just mad at how long. I just, I'm tired. I want to go home, Just a boyfriend-girlfriend thing." "Okay. All right. No one got hit. Nope. No, officer. No one was hit. No one was struck." And then at that point, he looks in with his flashlight. Okay. Calls dispatch, says, "Hey, dispatch, be advised, made contact with that vehicle. Everything seems to be okay. Just a verbal dispute." Clear. And literally now, he doesn't see the victim in that car. You follow me? It's that simple, everybody. Now, it's not always what you see. Sometimes it's what you don't see. A couple hours later, they go grab her, throw her in the back seat, take her somewhere not too far, because you don't want to be, you're not going to drive all over Arizona with a potential unalive person in your vehicle. That's just a no-no. No one does that. Nobody does that. That's not realistic. Unless you're just, I'll just say it, unless you're just a dumbass. No one does that. So I could see how at that point, literally, now they go ahead, go back, take that unalive person. Now they find a spot for him where it's going to take a lot of luck to find this person. Maybe they take him out to the desert, this unalive person, and maybe the coyotes get to it. Maybe they, the hyenas, the whatever, the pigs, whatever in the hell's out there. Maybe that could be some of the howling that some of these people were hearing that was reported at night. My point is, that is literally my position as far as who had or would be a good person of interest. But you have to also remember that, you got to go back and look at the interview that LD did. My God, it was horrible. That was a horrible interview. I mean, downright horrible. Came in, shaving his goatee, his mustache, all clean cut. Came in, probably had his hair trimmed. Came in with literally long sleeve shirts so no one would see, in my opinion, no one would see all the tattooing that he had. Because it's believed that this perp had some tattoos. Okay? Buttoned up shirt all the way to the top. When he was stopped by the police to literally, they were going to issue the search warrant for his house and his vehicle. Okay? Think about this. When he was literally given a search warrant to search his vehicle, the first thing he said when he came out, when the officer approached his vehicle, he said, "Is this about Nancy Guthrie?" Okay, everybody, think about it. It's not rocket scientist stuff. Is this about Nancy Guthrie? Say what? I mean, I don't know how more of a... That's probably the worst thing you could have said. The cop stops you, goes up to you to issue you your... This was all reported, and he confirmed it. The officer went up there to present you the search warrant that they're going to search the house and your vehicle, and you say, "Is this about Nancy Guthrie?" Who in the hell does that? Somebody that's like two fries short of a Happy Meal? More than likely. And I'm not joking. Then, when the officer says, "Yeah, we got a thing, we're going to search it, blah, 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 blah," he then says, "You can search my phone. You can search my phone." He says, "I didn't have it with me Saturday night. It was at my house the whole time. You can search it if you want." My gosh. Who says that? Think about it. You can't make this stuff up. And then on top of that, he goes on a crime reporters and does an interview with Brianna Whitney, a very good crime reporter. She asked him about those comments that were made when the officer came up to his vehicle. He confirmed it. And then she said, "Why would you say that?" And he said, "Well, my mom watches a lot of what's going on. And, she watches a lot of it. So, I just assumed that's what it was about." Really? Because I sure as hell wouldn't assume that. I would like to know what the hell you stopped me for. I would like to know why you went ahead and stopped me. I want to know, was I speeding? Was I crossing the center line? What the hell? But instead, I'm going to ask you, is this about the Nancy Guthrie case? Or is this about Nancy Guthrie? Who does that? Think about it, everybody. Who does that? I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm just saying, if you add the facts and you add all that was said and you add everything, a blue car going by in that area, hauling ass, literally hauling ass, with a woman screaming for help. Well, yeah, Nanos is going to say, that we made contact with that vehicle and it was just, a verbal dispute. Well, yeah, at the time when you did it, but how long did it take you to make contact with that vehicle? Because that timing is crucial. It's everything. That timing is everything. You don't think somebody in the heat of the moment is not going to be able to try to go ahead and take this unalive person out of their car? It'll take long. And then come back later? I just don't buy all that. I don't buy all this coincidence. I just don't buy it. I think when you find out when that 911 call came in, when that person was stopped, you see how long it took, it's a lot easier to make an assessment as to what happened than it is just to sit back and say, well, yeah, no one was in the car. Why hasn't nobody, if nobody has, I don't know if they have, but it would appear to me, nobody has went back, looked at that vehicle, found out who towed it. According to the neighbor, it was the insurance people. They had to check it to make sure it was a total loss. Okay. Where's it at? Where did that vehicle get taken to? What junkyard? What place? Because the insurance companies don't have a junkyard. It goes to probably the nearest junkyard. They just want to be able to send an agent out there so he can look at it. It's not like they're going to take it down to their office to look at it. They're going to take it by one of their closest agents. He's going to look at it and he's going to declare whether it's a total loss or not. I mean, these are like literally simple things you can do to find out. Where's it at? What salvage yard has it? Because once they get the information they want, if it's total loss, they'll just let the salvage yard keep it. So, what then happens? Where is it at? Did anybody do literally forensics in that blue vehicle? Did anybody check for any fingerprints? Maybe any droplets? Anything? We know that Nancy Guthrie was apparently bleeding to some extent. You don't think you'd have droplets of anything like that? Come on, everybody. If you like the live, subscribe. Do me a favor and subscribe. I am giving you literally exactly probably the one thing no one has talked about on a continuous basis. You haven't heard this. You haven't heard this. You know why I know? Because I've been paying attention and watching and listening. And as a police officer, as a police sergeant, as an investigator, cases that I have investigated, that would have been the first thing I would have done. Once I knew that he had a vehicle that fit the description, I would have checked it. I can still go back and check it if it's not all compact, smashed. I don't know if it's been done. We can't find any clues. We can't hear anything of anything that's going on. This is not like I'm trying to like accuse anybody, because I'm not accusing anybody. I'm saying I'm going where the information is taking me. And right now, that's where the information is taking me. All they have to do is literally go ahead. Literally, all they have to do is go ahead literally all they have to do is go ahead and find that vehicle and search it and do forensics and test it. Hell, I think that people would be happy even if they said, yeah, we did that. That would be a relief to a lot of people. It sure as hell would be a relief to me. See, I've had a person in my life that went missing. I've had somebody that literally picked up her and her daughter, and no longer did I ever see her. Okay? So for me, this is why it's so important. I've had that happen in my life. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about that. You eliminate all your possibilities of people of interest. You eliminate them. When you go do a case, you're not going to find out exactly what happened at the very beginning. You're not going to know all the integral parts. Why? Because it just happened. You don't have that information. You got to put that puzzle together. You have to put the puzzle together. I don't know what that puzzle's been put together. I don't know what anybody has done. You know why? Because we don't even have any information. And this is where, in my opinion, Nano's really messed up. In my opinion, where Nano's messed up was he didn't give the people something. It's like he let the people feel like their concerns were nothing, no big deal. Even though he may have been doing work behind the scenes. I'm not blaming him in that aspect. They may have been doing things behind the scenes. But he should have just gave them something as simple as, hey, we went ahead and we looked at everything top to bottom. We looked at everything affiliated with the family completely inside and out. We even had some still pictures to show this person dropped this person off and then they left. Or we even have, we looked at this vehicle, we found it, we know how many people were in there, we know how many people, who they were, we got their information, and they had nothing to do with this. At least the people would have felt like, at least he's checking out the leads. That would have spoke volume. But this stuff about, I get it. You got to keep things to your chest, right? You got to keep things closed. You can't give all these integral details. You can't give all this information out. It doesn't work like that. You have to know that at some point, if you get a call or a ransom letter or anything that's important, you have to know that person can give you something of interest to validate his call. That's not going to get you a payday and a ransom, because you're still going to have to do a proof of life. Do you follow me? It's that simple. You eliminate people of interest. You eliminate that. You literally eliminate it one by one. That's why I call this going back to the beginning. Allie, good to have you, Allie. Thank you for being here. Hello. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this stream. I would appreciate it. Thank you for your service. I see the hat. Absolutely. Only one way I'd roll, and that's the Marine Corps. Love all the branches. Had many brothers in the Army, nephews in the Navy, one in the Marine Corps, and then myself. So, hey, thank you so much. Appreciate the kind words. But you understand what I'm saying, everybody? You have to eliminate one by one. The band members, you know what? All he had to do was say, with the friends of Tommaso, all he had to do, and this, you have to understand, the sheriff is not doing the investigation. He has investigators. So the sheriff only is given the information that his people gather. Okay, let's be clear. The sheriff doesn't do any interviewing, interrogating, and none of that. That's not what he does. Thank you so much, Allie. I appreciate it. That's not what he does. Okay? He is the figurehead. He is the top. The buck stops with him. He'll take the heat when it comes down, when things don't go right like they didn't. But he doesn't do the investigations. Okay? So then the next thing is you find out, okay, it's not Tommaso. Okay, fine. Not Tommaso. Then you find everything you can about who his associates are, what their status financially is, what they knew, what they've heard, and you turn that upside down. And if there's any bit of hesitation, any bit of reservedness from these people of interest, then you start marking it down and start saying, okay, we gotta talk to this person a little bit more, because they seem kind of a little hesitant. You follow what I'm saying? They seem a little bit like they're holding back. And you do that. You literally do that until you are satisfied that that person of interest has nothing to do with this case. But you know what? You find out who their friends are. You find out who their friends are. And you do that to their friends. And then you get to a point where you go, there's just nothing here with these people. Then you say, that person is eliminated. That person that person's been cleared. But look how much I'm telling you, you have to go back. You know what I'm saying? How much you have to go back so that you can literally be able to literally clear people. It's not that simple just to say they're cleared. It's not that simple. Well, anybody can say you're cleared until you're not cleared. So that's why it's crucial. Look, you just have to go back to the basics. And the sad thing about it is this high profile crime is just that. It's a high profile because of who it is. I'm not saying that Nancy Guthrie is more important than any other person who has gone missing or any loved one who has lost somebody gone missing. But it's a big case. And you want to cover everything to the T. You want to dot your I's and cross your T's, literally. Because a mistake here can be a mistake that causes the whole case just to never develop or falter. It's that simple, everybody. It is that simple. And all Sheriff Nanos had to do was just give people a little bit of hope that they are following certain leads. You know, all he has to do is give people a little bit of hope. I know how it works. So for me, I get it to a certain extent why he can't give everything that everybody wants. I get that. That's a no-brainer for me because I worked in that field. I've been there, done that. I understand it. But you know what? Your average Joe hasn't worked in the field of law enforcement. Your average Joe doesn't get it. And therefore, you got to make sure they understand it. And how do you do that? By explaining to them the little things that are not going to compromise the case, but instead are going to actually give them a little bit of a sense of peace. That, hey, my sheriff is on top of this. My sheriff is watching this. My sheriff is not going to let anything happen to anybody. He's going to find out who did this. There's a different way to gain that respect and to gain the trust of the people, especially the people you serve. But you're not going to gain it just trying to, give nobody nothing. Like I said, I get it because I've worked it. I've worked cases. I've done interviews. I've done interrogations. I've done interviews. I've done translate. I've worked with many different entities. I get it. But your average Joe hasn't. That's why those things need to be done. And that's why Sheriff Nanos lost a lot of support. Because the people weren't hearing anything. And then, of course, what starts happening? They start digging up. And then they say, there's a lack of confidence in this person. So then what do? They look for a reason to get you out. Either by recall or look at your history and try to figure out what you've done wrong so they can use it against you. Because that's what happens in law enforcement. You're only loved and you're only supported until you're not loved, until you're not supported. Especially in an elected position. You are only supported, listen to me, you're only supported and loved by the community until they don't like you no more, until they don't trust you no more, until the people who hired you really don't want nothing to do with you. In other words, you work for the people. You work for the people. That's what you do. I'm not saying you compromise cases. You just work for the people. You tell them what they need to know. You don't compromise a case, but you do give them something. How hard is it to say? Yes. From the very beginning. How hard is it to say? Yes. Yes, there was a little droplets. That mat that had what looked like blood on it at the front door? Personally, I would have taken it and had it examined. If anything else you just never know. You just never know. But it sat there, and when people were making comments about, why did they take that mat? Why did they take that mat? There's blood droppings everywhere. Why did they take it? That would have been a good little nugget just to give everybody. Hey, we took the mat. We did send it to forensics. There was nothing that we had on there, or nothing that we could get out that was had any DNA or anything on it. But we did take that mat, and we did go ahead and send it for forensics, and we haven't got anything positive from it. That little nugget right there. Tell me if they had not said that, tell me the people would have been, oh, thank God, at least they took it. But when the people don't know how it works, they look at it and they go, why haven't they taken this? Why haven't they looked at this? I would have just took it. That would have been an easy little nugget to give somebody, to get the people some assurance that they are looking at things. I'm just saying, the idea that people are going to literally lose faith in you because you didn't give them what they wanted. And yet it was so simple to give a little bit of information. It was so simple. It was easy. It wasn't hard. You could have given a lot of things that were not going to compromise anything with law enforcement, with the case. But that's not what they did. So then you go back to the drawing board. Going back to, the guy that was trying to get the fence. He's the second guy that I would appoint a person of interest. The second person, the guy that was trying to. Now, you guys heard me tell you everything on why I believe they need to further talk to LP. Okay, they need to talk to him because there's a lot of unanswered things there. Okay, you guys know that's my number one person of interest. Not that he did anything, but I would definitely go back and clear up some of that very hazy things there. And then my second person is a guy that was in the fence trying to get him. Remember, he was trying to get into the back of the fence? It was reported that the owner called 911. Someone's trying to break in the back of the house. An officer gets out there, finds this individual, speaks to this individual. Apparently, it was reported that this individual said something to the effect that he was just trying to get into his house and he was having a hard time with the latch. Apparently, whatever he told the officer, it was good enough because the officer said, okay. And the officer left. Probably called in and said, hey, dispatch, just letting you know, I made contact with that individual. Everything looks good. He just trying to get back in his home. No further information. And that's the end of that. Only for later, for that house, people who owned the house to come out and say, no, that person didn't live here. That person does not live here. Holy shit, what did he just say? It was reported that he said that person does not live here. Think about that for a minute, everybody. The homeowners, it was reported, said that that person did not live here. Well, then why the cops let him go? And then on top of that, when the cop leaves, they show this individual walking away from the fence line back to where the car is at. There's a car that's real close to him that looks like some type of like a grayish type of Nissan. At least to me anyway. Now I'm not good with cars, but I'm just telling you, a Nissan. But then there's a podcaster by the name of Doug Goes Live or something to that effect. And he widens that screen of what they gave us. And as he widens his screen, you see that guy walking right towards what? A white Kia Soul. Why was that white Kia Soul so important? Because it was seen hauling ass. Once again, just like the blue car, seen hauling ass literally right on the road that Nancy lived on. Did they make any contact? I don't know. What's the ironic thing here? What's the literally the coincidence of this man trying to get into this back house? Was he casing the joint? Was he casing these houses? This house that he was at was only half a mile, 0.5 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's home. Think about that for a minute, everybody. Coincidence? How? All this stuff that's happening is just a coincidence. Come on. Look. All of that cannot be a coincidence. You would win the $1 billion lottery. You have a better chance of winning the $1 billion lottery when it hits 1 billion than you do saying all these elements that I just covered with you all. All these elements are all coincidence. Bullshit. They're not coincidence. One thing, maybe. Two things? Wow. Anything more than that? No, it's not a coincidence. I don't buy it. One bit. That's why I'm saying they needed to go ahead and start from the beginning and start going back. Did the officer make contact with the guy that was trying to get over the fence? Did he make contact with him? Did he get his name? Did he get his information? Did he ask for his license that would have said that where he was at, would have probably had his address, and it would have probably not matched, or it may have matched? You could have literally answered that whole question right there and then by looking at his ID and verifying where he lives. I don't know if that was done. Usually it's done, but I don't know if it was done. Matter of fact, I haven't even heard a whole lot about it. And that person looked so identical. Once again, because they all looked identical to the perp that was in the front door of Nancy Guthrie. You have to understand, this is not all coincidence. All of this stuff was happening right around when it happened, when she was abducted. Give me a second, everybody. Be right back. Give me a second. Do you understand what I'm saying? All of that literally could have been all answered. Could have literally been all answered. I'm back, everybody. All of that could have been answered from the very beginning. If you've been listening to this live, please subscribe, because there's going to be a lot more coming out. This won't be the only crime story we cover. Just right now, that is the top one at the list. So if you like this kind of stuff, subscribe. Doesn't cost you nothing. Doesn't cost you anything. Just helps you know when I'm going to go ahead and do a live. It'll send you a notice, a message. So now we're back to, I wanted to turn here. So now we know literally that is what's happened. We know that. We know that. We know. We know. These are the things that you have to be able to understand. Because just going after a sheriff because, for a better lack of words, he has no experience or has very little bit of experience. I know he's been an officer for a long time. I get it. That doesn't mean you gain a lot of experience. Okay? Experience is when you're getting your hands dirty, when you're actually going out in the field, when you're actually working, when you're working a case, when you're putting a case together. That's what I mean by getting your hands dirty. You're literally getting your hands dirty. You're out there in the field, making it happen, solving crimes, working investigations. I'm not saying that Sheriff Nanos didn't do some of these things. I'm just saying he's the figurehead. But I'm also telling you that the idea of not giving, if someone gave him advice, which really the buck stops with him. But if someone gave advice that don't say anything about this, don't say anything about that, oh, they just cripple the man. Figuratively, not literally, figuratively. They just cripple the man. He should have gave some stuff to the information to the people, because that's what the people were looking for. They want to know that they're safe. Even people in the community want to know that they're safe. Today, it's this little neighborhood, this little Catalina foothills. Tomorrow, it's another somebody else's foothills, somebody else's Catalina foothills. You understand what I'm saying? You want people to be able to understand and trust in what you're doing. So the second guy was the guy I just told you about with the fence guy. The Kia Soul that went hauling ass in front of Nancy Guthrie's home during the time, right at the same time when it was reported. And when I say the same time, I don't mean like exactly the same minute. It could be a few minutes before or a few minutes after, right? It's in that ballpark range where that person now literally becomes a person of interest. And you stop that person. You stop him and you ascertain and you question and you do what you got to do to eliminate this person. Because the reality is, if you don't, man, you could have let someone get away. Hold on, everybody. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. How you doing, bud? Good. Where you going, my friend? So that's where we're at. And that's literally why it's important to check every lead possible. Once again, I'm not saying they didn't check these leads. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying they didn't. Okay? I'm not saying they didn't check these leads. What I am saying is none of those leads, if they were checked, never made it back to the people as to what was going on. That's what I'm saying. Kenny, anything new? Not ice cream time yet. Not ice cream time yet. But it will be here in a little bit. Gotta have my Kona ice cream cone, man. A little kid who loves ice cream cone, no doubt. Thank you for being here, Kenny. Hoorah. So, just going back over the idea of everything that was involved. You know what I mean? So, that's why that person in the white Kia Soul would have been a perfect person of interest. And here's the thing. If they would have found everything about him, and then once again, we go back to looking at, okay, maybe they were able to dispel that he had anything to do with it. Go look at his friends. See if there was some more conversation in the background. You see what I'm saying? And you keep doing this, and sometimes it takes a hell of a long time to be able to clear anybody. But you know what? When you do, you can live with it because you know you did the right thing. When you don't, because it's too much work, then people see right through it and they don't trust you. And they just feel like, hey, nah, this guy's not working for the people. So that is why, literally, that is why, thank you, Kenny, appreciate you. That is why, literally, they should have checked that Kia Soul. They should have went back. They should have bought film. They should have seen where this guy went. They should have did the same thing. Look for all cameras that had him anywhere and close to where everything was happening. Absolutely. They should have done this. But they didn't. You know what I mean? They didn't do it. Michael H. DoorDash, please. So that's why I'm saying there's a lot of things they could have done. And that would have given people a peace of mind. But instead, they didn't do that. Give me 1 second, everybody. Oh. Thank you, my friend. And that's why you do that. That's why you do that. But if you don't do that, you never know, and you never get the truth. You understand what I'm saying? You never get the truth. And then what happens is people don't get to see their loved ones back because the ball was dropped. So that individual, they could have went back, they could have pulled cams, they could have said, okay, let's see, just like they did with, wanting to see who was driving by during the time with Nancy, and they were able to pull cameras. They could have done that with everybody else's camera. Kind of seeing where this guy went from that place. I mean, it didn't seem like there was too many odd places he could have left from there. But they didn't do that. They didn't do that. So now you have a problem because you're not doing everything you can. And maybe Nano should have called the FBI and should have got them more involved from the very beginning. Maybe Nano should have literally went ahead instead of trying to, he knew he had according to them, they're a young police department, a young sheriff's department. Like 4 years average experience. That's not a whole lot. When normally sheriff's departments are very top heavy with experience. Just saying. So he could have got other agencies. He could have asked, the Arizona Highway Patrol, the search and rescue. He could have got a lot of these smaller departments to go in there and help with the search at the very beginning. He could have. Maybe he did to some extent. I don't know. Asian Nan, I agree that when there is any evidence, common sense should be looked into. No doubt. No doubt, Asian Nan. That's 100% exactly right. Hey, if you know anything about what I've been talking about this whole time I've been talking about this, and you go look at all my lives, everything you'll hear me say is everything is common sense. It's right in front of you. Whether you use it or not, the common sense to go ahead and resolve what you're trying to resolve, that's a different story. But everybody has common sense. Some just don't know how to apply that common sense. Okay? In my opinion. So you're exactly right, Agent Nan 26. Thank you so much. Appreciate that comment. That's why it is important to check every possible lead. And then as you literally clear these people, you can give little nuggets. Because here's the thing, folks. Just because they clear you, like earlier, when Sheriff Nano said the family has been cleared, that don't mean jack. And I say that literally. That don't mean nothing. You're cleared until you're not cleared. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, well, we just discovered this evidence over here, so guess what? You're not cleared now. Everybody thinks just because you're cleared that means it's hook, line, and sinker. You are cleared. No. You're only cleared until you're not cleared. When you're cleared is when they find the perpetrator who did this crime. That's when everybody becomes cleared who didn't have anything to do with it. That's how it works. Just saying. Just saying. So a lot of people say, oh, well, you know, he cleared him. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. And the fact of the matter, there should have never been any clearing of anybody. Because you didn't have time enough to clear everybody thoroughly. That's just common sense, everybody. If you're listening to the live and you like this live, please subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Just gets you and lets you know when we're having a live, and it goes ahead and opens the doors to have more conversation and get more opinions and ideas. Song is back. Song says, I didn't really think it could be tomato, meaning Tommaso, but I watched the way his feet turned out when walking at the memorial in the same gait as the doorbell guy. What a shame. You're exactly right. I seen that. And that was so stunning. That was, I forgot who I seen it from, but it was another podcaster. And I tell you what, man, talk about the duck walk. How they both had so similar footsteps. It was a no-brainer. No wonder it seems like the police have stopped looking. I mean, if they stop looking because that's what they're good, that's what their angle is, hey, more power to them. You know, they'll be able to laugh at everybody else who's critiquing them because they didn't know the inside, just like none of us really know the inside of what's happening. However, and a lot of times people, you know, whether it's local law enforcement, whether it's, you know, whoever, sheriffs or whoever, they'll clear people just so they can drop their guard and they can make that mistake. Right on, spot on, no doubt. But he usually follows up with something, not just dangles their eyes and okay, they're cleared and that's it. Doesn't work that way. But you're right, Song. When I saw the memorial walk and they put the side by side, and I thought it was like, maybe it was Monkey Intuition or somebody, or maybe, I don't know. It was one of these really good podcasters that actually put the side by side. Really, I subscribe to them, I just don't have it handy. But literally side by side, they walk exactly the same way. They bent down when he went down, Tommaso, to put the flowers down, and he bent down. It was like the same bent as the person was picking up the flowers or the foliage or whatever he was using to cover Nancy's camera. Oh my God. I was like, what? You know, and this is stuff that, you know, as I pride myself as an investigator, I used to be an investigator. I pride myself in my time in law enforcement. I didn't see that. Oh man, this is the wrong way. Sorry, buddy. Give me a second. I gotta go this way here. So, yes. Very, very interesting. And you're right. I see it. You know, like I said, I would have turned every possible potential person of interest, and that definitely was a person of interest. I would have turned everybody upside down, shook everything out of their pockets. I would have shook everything of their friends' pockets until either I was literally convinced that they had nothing to do with it. But that doesn't happen in the short amount of time when Nanos went ahead and said that he was cleared, that they were all cleared. Yeah, never would have done that. Nope, not happening. No way. But that just goes to show you. And I understand that at the moment that all this is happening, yes, I get it. I get it. My Lord, I get it. That, you know, everybody's walking on eggshells. Everybody wants to make sure that, that they did the right thing and they went ahead and yada, yada, yada. I get it. I get that. Can't get in there. Give me a second, everybody. Just give me 1 second. Give me a second, everybody. All right, everybody, I'm back. Sorry. So that's what I'm saying. Makes no sense. See what here we have. Asian Nan says, I've always suspected it was an inside job. It might not be the family, but I think it's someone who knows Nancy's routines. Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I am 100% with you. It's hard to envision it to be a family member, okay? It is very hard to envision a family member. It's just, to me, it's very difficult. Maybe because I like to believe that family is more stronger, more united, more, family sticks together. But we've heard some crazy stories in the past. However, this person who did this either knows the family, knows the layout, knows Nancy's movements, knows the terrain, knows the ins and outs from the Catalina foothills. No stranger is going to go in there and make it all happen without, and even if you know all that, you still have to be careful you don't bust an ankle somewhere, So, yeah, I'm with you wholeheartedly. No doubt. Goes without saying, no doubt. Thank you for that, Asian Nan. I'm with you. I think it was definitely someone that knows the movements of Nancy Guthrie and or someone who knows the family pretty damn well. Just my take, but I agree. Couldn't have said that better myself. But that's the whole point. When you look at people and you look at these type of things that are happening, you literally can go ahead and start to clear people. Why? Because there's nothing there, right? There's nothing there. You clear it. There's nothing there. And yet, no one's clearing anything. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can say he's cleared. And I get it. Sometimes you want to use that as a leverage to let the suspected person feel like, oh yeah, they don't think it's me, so I can relax. And then they make a mistake with a text or a phone call or something. But make no mistake, everybody is literally is going ahead, and everybody is literally being watched. Their phones are being probably tapped. They're listening to every conversation. They're doing all that and some. They are doing all that and some. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. It just only makes sense. I mean, then again, you just don't know, right? You just don't know what is going through everybody's mind. Unbelievable. So, that is my theory on what is going on. Literally, that is what's happening in my opinion. And those two people that I just talked about are, those are people that I would definitely go back. All three of them, actually. All three of them that I talked about, I definitely would go back. And I definitely would literally go back and try to figure out how to do some re-investigating, Here's the thing, folks. You're not going to learn everything all the time right away. You're just not. Sometimes you got to go back over and over and over to see what you missed. That's good police work. That's good police work, solid police work. To go back over and over and over and replay and replay and reread and reread and rewatch and rewatch and listen. Literally. You do this all the time until it makes sense. Okay? You do this all the time. And once again, I'm not disparaging anybody. I'm not saying anybody in law enforcement did not do their job, this, that, and the other. What I'm saying is, it could have been as easy as giving people a little bit of hope that leads are being checked. It could have been as easy as going ahead and following up with some of these suspected people or persons of interest. I mean, my God, look, everybody that you've seen, heck, even the Gothic people that were there doing photo shoots, with their ass hanging out. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. They were there doing all these photo shoots. Even them, you're going to go ahead and you're going to turn theirs upside down. Why? Well, you're going to ask the question, why were you there? What was your reasoning? I mean, what was your thinking? Asian Ann says, I was wondering if anybody had checked into a report that they heard someone was screaming around her kidnapping. I've heard a couple things on that, Asian Ann. I heard a couple of things on that basically, I haven't heard a lot, but I've heard a couple things as to that people weren't understanding where that came from. And so that's probably why we didn't hear a lot about it, because I don't know if that was just something someone put out, like, someone's opinion, or if that was actually something that was literally put out by the sheriff or something, you know what I mean? So I don't know. That's a very good point, because I have heard that. And you would ask, well, shoot, man, if someone heard her screaming, well, yeah, of course, what's going on here? But I think no one really followed up on that. So I don't know if it was something that was valid or something that was just put out there as a, that's what I'm saying. I did hear about that. And that's a very good point. That's a very good point. But to my understanding, when I looked into that, it was telling me, when I was like searching and stuff, it was saying that it wasn't like credible. I don't know why it wouldn't have been credible, but it wasn't. Like, it was something that was just thrown out there in the ethosphere, just thrown out there and, sounded good. That's the best I can tell you, because I have to look into that. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that could have been done different. A lot of things that should have been done different, and yet nothing was done. Let me rephrase that. I don't want to say nothing was done, because there was a lot of stuff done. But yeah, I don't think that enough was done to eliminate people. I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it that nothing was done. But that's why you have to literally vet everybody, check everybody. And there's nothing wrong with going back. Everybody thinks just that because you go back to the beginning that it's just simply because there was mistakes made. No. You're going back to the beginning to see what you didn't see the first time. There was a live streamer who had reported someone in a car screaming, and I was wondering if the police department would check it. Yeah, well, that was a blue car, and that they did say they made contact with somebody that was screaming from a blue or dark vehicle for help. And what had happened was, it was a blue vehicle or dark vehicle. I think they said blue though. And they did say that. And they did eventually say, if I'm not mistaken, it was Nanos, if I'm not mistaken, said that they made contact, but it wasn't anything to do with the case. That's all he said. It was nothing to do with the case. Now, I don't know how you make that assumption that it has nothing to do with the case. Someone screaming and someone just got abducted during the same time. I don't know how that works, to be honest. But yeah, you're right. And that's what I've been talking about earlier. If they don't have a solid suspect, they need to hand the case off to someone experienced like you that can go, there's so much people, I appreciate Kenny, but there's so much people that are smart individuals that know everything about a lot of things more so than I'll ever know. And it's easy to sit back, Kenny, and watch this and then try to use your own knowledge that you have acquired over all those years of law enforcement, all those years of training, all those years of schooling. And yeah.
Hey, I'm just heading home. Faith has not called.
Okay.
I went to the urgent care for my tooth, so
she got medicine.
Could you pick her up for me?
Yeah, I'll pick her up. I'm on live.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Love you.
But
love you, Dad.
So you're right, Kenny, and I appreciate that. I really do, but here's the thing, man. There's people out there know a lot more than I do. I'm just trying to pick it apart, and it's easy to pick it apart when you have that experience. It's a lot harder in real time to make all those right decisions, and I get it. Been there, done that. Agent Ann said someone that Nancy might know or had close past with her. Absolutely. It's going to be somebody that knows of her, of the family. It's going to be somebody that knows the movements, knows the layout, knows the ins and outs of that Catalina foothills, right? It's going to be somebody that understands that. It's not going to be just somebody that came out of nowhere and just decided, hey, let's go ahead and do this. It's not going to be that. Elliot, right? No doubt. I thank you for being here, Elliot. Thank you so much. But that's what it's going to be. It's not going to be some spontaneous thing. It's just not. It wouldn't make any sense if it was. Thank you for being here, Elliot. Give me a second, everybody. Give me a second. Sorry, everybody. Man, it took a while. Oh, Lord of mercy. Okay. Sorry, buddy. I have probably everybody. Thank you for the ones that stayed with me here. Sorry about that. And keep this conversation going amongst yourselves if you need to. Absolutely. All right. Let me see what I missed here. Let's see here. Kenny said if they don't have a solid substance, they need to have... Yeah. Kenny. Someone that Nancy might know or had crossed paths with her. Elliot says, right? Agent says, I also think that someone in her neighborhood saw something or has some evidence and doesn't want to say anything because they are afraid of something might happen to them. That's a very... Yeah, no doubt. I could see that. No doubt about it. That's a very good point. There was reports that there was one that, I mean, they call this lady out, and I don't remember her name, but that they were told she did not want to give up her cam, her video door cam, so they could go look for it. Now, I don't know if that's true, but they did say there was one. It was reported. So makes you wonder. And I think it was like the house up on the hill or something, or 2 houses down from Nancy's, which, you know, of course, everybody always asks the question, well, why would you not want to try to help your neighbor? You know, right? I mean, it only makes sense you'd want to help your neighbor, but for whatever reason, she did not want to give her cam. So I'm with you. I think there's some people out there that want to get more involved and they can't because, or they can, they just afraid. And a lot of people that live there are older people too. So they may be in a retirement type of state where they don't want to literally go into that, like be that person because, yeah, there's a lot of fear, no doubt. Sorry, everybody, give me one more sec. All right, I'm back, everybody. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that, you know, are going to have all these ideas because, let's face it, there's just not enough information. But I do believe it was somebody that knew the family. No doubt. If you're new or if you are here and you like the live, do me a favor, please subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. Just let you know when I'm going live so we can have this conversation. And believe me, I am going to cover as much crime things as I can, stories and things, current events, only because it's up my alley. It's what I like. I really do enjoy it. I don't like it when it happens to people, don't get me wrong, but I enjoy the fact that I have a little bit of knowledge to be able to give people a different perspective, if you will. But you're right. I do think someone did this that literally was I mean, I don't know if they seen it, but I wouldn't doubt it. People are very people are very skittish when it comes to reporting something, especially at this level, this high profile case. You know what I mean? People are very skittish. People don't want to go ahead and get involved in a lot of things. And I mean, I get it to some extent. But here's the thing. If we're not out here protecting your neighbors, protecting people, you know, the elderly, even kids. If we're not out here going to protect kids, the elderly, children, then what kind of people are we in a society? If we don't have the decency and the understanding of sometimes we got to step up to the plate and help the people that, you know, need the help, then what kind of people are we in a society? You know? I mean, think about that. I would like to think that if somebody knew where my sister was at some point in time, they, you know, they would have helped. You know, they would have looked. But, you know, back then in the 80s, it was different than it is today. Today with social media and everything, you know, a lot can be done. You know, no doubt about it. A lot can be done. So I'm just saying that, yes, I can see why people are so reserved and hesitant. But I think when it comes to something like this, when it deals with the elderly or when it deals with kids or when it deals with, you know, the mental, you know, mental disabled, I think people need to think twice because, you know, that's just is not right. In my opinion, it's just not right, you know. But then again, you have to understand my background. So maybe that's, for me, I look at things a little bit different. But I can understand why elderly people, especially elderly, don't want to get involved. Totally get it. Totally get it. Totally understand. But sometimes if we don't take care of our own people, then how can we expect anybody to take care of the people that we care about? You know what I mean? I mean, makes sense to me. All right, let me drop this off here. These people. Give me a second, everybody. Give me a second, everybody. Take a break. right, I'm back, everybody. I had to take my sweatshirt off because it's getting a little warm. It's supposed to hit 70 today. All right. All righty, let's get it. So that's pretty much where we're at. I mean, as far as, does anybody else have any ideas who would their top 2, top 3 persons of interest be? Anybody? Anybody got any takes on who their persons of interest would be? Since I've been watching live stream every day and the information that they provide, but suddenly the sheriff's department wants all the media out of the area. Yeah, that's true. Well, you know, I think he's being pressured too by a lot of people that live, you know, right there where Nancy lives, and then the people that, you know, the neighbors and whatnot. I think it's just a lot of pressure from those people. Honestly, I truly don't think he would give two rat cents who was there. But because people are complaining about people, then he almost feels like he has to do something because he's already, you know, his support is already diminishing. You know what I mean? His support is not doing well. So, yeah, I get what you're saying, no doubt about it. And I'm not trying to, don't misunderstand me. I'm not trying just to defend that, but it is the reality that, you know, it is the reality that, you know, it's tough. You know, it's tough. I tell you from experience, it's tough being a leader of a department and then having to make all the right decisions. Sometimes, you know, you're trying to appease everybody and please everybody that you put yourself in a ringer, like I believe he did. And then no one comes to save you, you know, and I don't mean like physically, but save you as in like now, once people lose hope and faith in your work, you're on your own. You know what I mean? Gene says they have Airbnbs there. Yes, they do. Yes, they could have stayed at the Airbnb. I think the big thing was that people were just complaining because, I don't know. I watched a lot of these different streamers and I didn't see them like really doing anything that would bother me per se. Hell, if anything, it would give more eyes on my area, would give me some peace of mind when I go to sleep, you know. But saying that, I don't really think it was anything that they were doing. It was just a lot of pressure, and from the people that live around there that didn't want them there. And it wasn't a lot of people that didn't want them there. Make no mistake, there was only a handful. I mean, I'm literally a handful, because a lot of people, what I saw was they were happy they were there. They were happy. But, you know, the people that went on walks, that went to, you know, talk to people, that literally went and had, you know, they didn't like that because it was uprooting their everyday life, which I can understand to a certain extent. Excuse me. Damn it. Yeah, they did complain. The homeowners association, yes. HOA, the homeowners association. She really was, I don't know, she kind of rubbed me wrong, I'm not gonna lie. She rubbed me big time wrong. But, you know, once again, that's why she's in charge of that, right? That's why they put her in charge of it, to be that mouthpiece for everybody. And I don't think a lot of people really cared, you know, that they were there. I don't think a lot of people cared. I think what's happened is that, literally, I think what's happened is that people just got tired, man. They got tired of of dealing what they were dealing with. You know, they got tired of I don't know, maybe all it takes is one person to complain, right? We all know this in life. We all been around. We all get it. One person starts to complain, and next thing you know, everybody has an issue, right? You know what I mean? You know that old theory, it takes one person to screw it up for everybody? That's basically what we had. You know, it took one person to really screw it up for everybody. But I really think at this point, this late, as far as when I say this late, and I don't mean any disrespect to it, but this far, as far as like what we've been dealing with, I do believe that we come to a point now where, like I said, there's not much information they're going to be able to give you. Okay? In fact, and I've heard other people who have been in this field of law enforcement say the same thing. In fact, even searching a massive search is not really idealistic. And the reason being is because of the rain, the windstorms, all the shuffling of the sand and the dirt and the evidence. And, that should have been done at the very beginning. You know what I mean? At the very beginning, that should have been done. It's a little late in the ballgame to do that. And I only say that because it really is too late in the ballgame. The only thing we're going to hear now, we're not going to hear about, hey, we got a person that we're looking of interest, we're trying to locate him, this is what he looks like. I mean, if they did, great. I just don't see it. I know this profession, it's not going to happen. What you're going to see is, like I said before, you're going to see literally breaking news that a suspect has been arrested in the abduction of Nancy Guthrie. That's what you're going to hear. Because there's nothing new they can give you. What are they going to give you? What are they going to say? Look for this person? If they don't have a person by now, and I think they do, I feel they do strongly. I sure as hell have a lot of people in mind, that I would like to question, or not per se me, but that I would like to see them question. But if they don't have a person in mind now, they ain't going to have a person in mind. Just like if they just go ahead and just say, hey, yes, this, they're not going to come out for you to help search anything. That ship has sailed. I'm telling you, that ship has sailed. It's not going to happen. Why did the HOA lady come out to the Alex live streamer and say that Nancy is dead and she is not there? I think this lady really, sometimes I feel like she crosses the line. And when you ask like what I mean by that, she crosses the line. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I think she really like oversteps and sometimes she can let her mouth overload her ass. I'm sorry. That's just how I see it. She literally lets her mouth overload her ass. I mean, she shouldn't say those things. If you want to just say that, hey, she's probably not here because they searched everywhere and therefore she's not here, that's one thing. But when you start talking about, well, she's not buried here, she's dead, or this or that, the other, to me, that's just not good. I don't care who you are. And yeah, I think she was trying to be witty and she was trying to be smart and she was trying to be like philosophical and all this garbage that I think all she did is make herself look like not very smart individual, a very non-caring individual. That's what I see. And yeah, and I say this respectfully. I am glad I wasn't there because that's something that would have rubbed me wrong. In all honesty, that's something that would have rubbed me wrong big time. So yeah, but Alex didn't do anything wrong. didn't do it. In my opinion, he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything illegal. I mean, that street belongs to everybody. It's not the owners of that area. It's everybody's street. So in that aspect, yeah, I don't think that was necessary. But she just got over her skis and let her mouth overload herself, and consequently, it made her look very less than. It made her look very shallow, very uncaring, very. It said a lot about her, I guess is the best way to put it. Give me 1 second. God. Sorry, buddy. Back. Unreal. Unfreaking real. Sorry, buddy. Wow. So, yeah. That's where it's pretty much at, everybody. I do apologize. In and out. Normally, it's not like that where it's so long, but hey, it is what it is. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. I really do. Semper Fi, everybody. Semper Fi, everybody. Appreciate you all. Lord. A long day. Long day, everybody. Long day. No doubt about it. But I appreciate everyone sticking with me. I really do. Appreciate all the interactions, too. So, Asian Nam says, I think every emergency they should start giving her fines. I think every emergency they should start giving her fines. Oh, what was the one before that? Why did I join? Yeah, no, I understand. What's up, Wilmo? Wilmo's in the house. How you doing, buddy? Good to have you, Wilmo. Appreciate you. I thought you were coming back the other. I was, but man, I tell you what. Yeah. It's just, yeah. It's one of those days, man. One of those times, you know. Something always coming up at the last minute. But, hey, I'm here now. Hello. Good to have everybody in here, man. Seriously. Been great, man. Everybody's been awesome, great. Appreciate all of you. All of you. You guys have been wonderful. So, yeah. So, Asian Ann said, I think every time she calls the police for non-emergency, they should... I agree with you. I mean, look, I'm not going to tell you that stuff doesn't happen. When people keep calling, they just kind of like, yeah, okay, we'll send extra patrol. I'm sure everyone have heard that before. The Tito. Officer will go to a call. They'll get to the call. As long as it's not an emergency or something serious. You know, dogs barking or something. Yeah, and it's always the same person. We'll give you extra patrol. They'll drive around. They'll say, yeah, got here, heard nothing. 10-8. 10-4. I mean, it sounds so shitty, but it's so true. Because some of these people who call for the stupidest things is pathetic. She knows why they're out there. This lady knows why they're out there. She knows that they're covering this. She knows what's happening. Yet she gives the impression that she couldn't give a hill of beans about why they're out there. You know what I mean? So, yeah. You know, I just, you know, obviously you got to take the calls, right? But I'd be like, yeah, extra patrol. Time to move on. I mean, that's what law enforcement does. Not that they're bad people for doing it. They just get tired of the same people calling for the same stupid shit. You know, excuse my language, but that's exactly what they do. Hey, there you go. That's an inside little nugget. And any officer says, oh, no, we don't do that, you're full of shit. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. Because you get, you know, I apologize if any one of you here is called Karen, literally your name. But that's what happens, you know, when you get a Karen that constantly calls. Yeah, you know, it's that cry wolf thing, man. It's like, man, you know, somebody could be really needing the law enforcement for something, and you're over here knowing why they're here, knowing why these people are coming here. You know, I mean, it is your neighbor, for God's sake. You know, and I saw that when it happened to Alex, how she treated him, and you know, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. It's wrong. It sends a whole connotation on how you feel and how you think about people. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And some people, they think, like, I don't know, like, people are parked on the street or on the side. And I get it. There's no parking. I get that. I mean, if you want to say that there's no parking area for that, that's fine. But, and I get it. Sometimes, I mean, when they had a lot of people there, man, it was congested. I'm not going to lie. Thank God there wasn't any fires out there because it was so congested. Tight fit. But in the same token, everybody knew why they were out there. Even to the point that some people were even like, some of these residents were allowing some of these people, these streamers, to park in their driveway. And you wanna meet what law enforcement is telling you, right? If they're saying, hey, we don't want anybody parking on this and that, I get it. I'll be honest. I'll be very honest with you. When this first thing happened, they should have blocked off that whole area, blocked it off, not like where people who lived there couldn't get through, but blocked it off where there was, this is a crime scene area. Unfortunately, yeah, it may not be the street, but you know what? We can't take a chance on anybody compromising the integrity of the investigation. Therefore, yeah, I really believe that. But, yeah. Wilmo says, people don't think that way. They figure that LE is there for them no matter what. Yeah, and those people are the ones that end up getting just extra patrol. And we all know what extra patrol means. All right, man, we'll send somebody out there. Somebody will come out there. Extra patrol. Because you're taking away for, I don't want to say for selfish reasons, but for, I don't know. I don't want to, people have a right, but 911 calls are different. If you get a 911 call, you better respond. You better respond quick, because that could come bite you in the ass. No doubt about it. People will call 911 just because the neighbor's dog is on their yard. Yeah. And you know what? Usually if you got a good dispatcher, they'll say, do me a favor, call the regular line. Don't call 911. This is only for emergencies. That's not an emergency. And end of story, That's what really good dispatchers, and I've seen them before, do that. So, yeah. What do you say? I mean, really, what do you really say? It's just a really tough situation. Some of these dispatchers get really like hammered with a lot of serious and non-serious stuff that, man, I don't know how some of these do it. And if you're wondering, yeah, I've done it before too, dispatching, and it can be a hectic situation. And then it can be so tedious that you're like, are you serious? Really? You're calling me for that? You want an officer to come out for that? I mean, yeah, it can get that bad. No doubt about it. But anyway, back to Nancy. Does anybody else got a idea or a theory on who may be a very good person of interest? Anybody got any takes on that? I really would love to hear your take.
The customer requested you leave the order at their door. They added the following instructions. Leave at my door.
Some people really have good takes on stuff, and it's very give me a second, everybody. I know. It's a second. But this is really a second. maybe 5 seconds, but it's still close to the second. Let's see what we got. What we got here? Let's see. Wemo says you can't win, right? You know, I think there is, honestly, and maybe it's wishful thinking on my part, but I do think that they have a person of interest, literally. I really do. Because if they don't, this will end up being the biggest cluster F, you know what I'm talking about. Literally, this would be the biggest cluster F you have ever seen. So, no, I do think they have a person of interest. But, I mean, hell, I just covered 3 top people that I would literally be hammering. And you could see where that would go, where that could lead, right? You could see where that would go. You could see where all, you know, as they say, peeling the onion, you know, the more you peel, the more things and more things and more things. And it's not hard to envision somehow, some way, shape, or form, many of those people, they're some way connected in one way or another. Whether they know each other, whether they've seen each other at the bar, whether they friends, whether they hang out, whether they go to the same clubs, whatever the case may be, okay, you know that there is a connection there somewhere, you know. And I've seen some of these streamers and these sleuths, you know, that go out there and they put some really good, compelling information out there. I kudos to them. And if they had no law enforcement background, kudos to them, because it's very impressive. No doubt about it. It's very impressive. Adrian says, yes, I agree with you. No doubt. I mean, some of these sleuths out there, they're really good at putting stuff together. And the one you were saying, Adrian, the perps walking, right? The 2 people side by side. I mean, my gosh, you know. But it's those little things, you know. Even Doug Goes Live. Now, Doug Goes Live, he had that one where I told you about the fence guy, right? But he also had another one about something he thinks he missed that somebody pointed it out to him. And it was the backpack that guy had on. He had 2 backpacks on at the time. Same guy that was trying to get over the fence. That one of them looked like it was red on the side, like it was seeping the red color of what makes a person eventually unalive. It was seeping on that bag, you know, and it looked like it was definitely red. It looked like it could have really been, you know, yeah. Just don't want to come out and say it, but you guys know what I'm saying, I think. There wasn't much hard evidence in this case. And I don't think that it had anything to do with the sheriff. No, it really didn't have a lot to do, Wilma, with the sheriff. Because once again, like I said, you have to understand the sheriff is just a figurehead. Now, I could say the investigators did a really shitty job. Okay, the investigators, from what I see, I think they did a shitty job. Now, shitty because it's something that I don't agree how they did it. You know, like the stuff they were presenting, or what they actually were never hardly presenting. The sheriff is just a figurehead, man. That's all. It's not that I know. I mean, they could have been doing a great job. Okay, don't misunderstand me. I mean, I'm trying to multitask here. I'm not saying they did a horrible job, or a shitty job. Let me rephrase that. I think maybe it would be better to say they did what I think would be a very inexperienced job. You know what I mean? A very inexperienced. I think they were looking at so many different things, you know, that they forgot to look at the things right in front of you. Because 9 out of 10, man, the things right in front of you are right there. Asian Ann says, follow the tattoo. Yeah, Asian Ann, if only everybody and their mother didn't have a tattoo. But I agree. I mean, those are signifiers. Didn't they say there was somebody, honestly? No, absolutely, Wamo. And I don't claim to know what the Sheriff's Department did or did not do. I just know that I haven't heard some of the things that I have talked about. I have not heard anybody talk about. I haven't heard anybody go to that extreme, or I don't want to say extreme, go to that level of investigating. You know, I haven't heard. You know, and it's not that my theory. It's just a theory, just a thought. But you know what? In my experience, I mean, that's pretty. It's something that I would definitely look at if I was doing the case, you know. But no, I'm not putting the Sheriff's Department down. I'm not putting nobody down, because you know what? I don't know what's being done. And like I said, at the end of the day, we may have egg on our face, because they'll have the perp and we'll be the ones looking like morons, you know. But yeah, but we really don't know what they did. That's true. That's fair to say. We don't know what they did. You know, I just don't hear anybody talking about some of the things, you know, that really rise questions in my mind about how come no one's saying this, or how come no one's looking at this, or how come no one's talking about this. But then again, that's just my experience coming out. You know, I'm not the end all be all know all. You know, so yeah, I get it. I get it. It's just sometimes, you know, you wish that, you know, you would see a little bit, but it just doesn't happen all the time. You know, sometimes we don't get what we wanted, you know. But the evidence, as far as all that evidence of tattoos and all that plays a role, everything. But what I was going to say is, didn't someone say there was somebody that got a lot of tattoos removed within days of this happening? Didn't somebody say there was somebody in the area that was getting all their tattoos removed? I thought I had heard that somewhere, and I'm not throwing it out there. I don't really remember exactly how I heard it, but I heard that there was somebody talking about, when I say somebody, there was a person of interest that was out there literally getting his tattoos removed, you know. So I'm not really sure how that really fits in the narrative, to be honest. I really don't. I just know that's what I heard. I don't even know if it's factual. But the fact of the matter is, one thing we can say is it definitely would rise to the suspicion, right? Give me a second. Oh, it's cool outside. It's just going to roll down the window. Yeah. Song says, so I can't talk too much. I was wondering, what should we call you? Oh, look, I was in the Marine Corps, right? So because I was in the Marine Corps, my call handle is Semper Fi. And what that Semper Fi means is always faithful. Always faithful. Semper Fi is something that Marines tell other Marines, you know, always remember, always faithful. Marine Corps are always faithful to the country, no doubt. So you can call me whatever you want, honestly. But, you know, the fact of the matter is, I don't know. Interesting. I don't know. Common sense. Common sense says whatever you want, honestly. It's like that commercial. You can call me Bill. You can call me this. You can call me this. But don't call me this. It doesn't bother me. I mean, honestly, you guys will figure it out. I'm just glad you guys enjoyed the stream. I'm glad you guys really listen to me as far as hear my thoughts. And sometimes it is that, and I know I kind of ramble on sometimes, but it's because I'm just not hearing that one thing that I want to hear. I'm not hearing it, you know, and I'm not seeing it. And it's so frustrating. Agent Ann says maybe they should check into who has issues with the sheriff's department, or maybe check out someone who was arrested and released from jail. You're right. I mean, you're right. And some of the people that I mentioned to you, Agent Ann, is some of the people literally, yeah, they have that criminal background, you know. So some of those people that I mentioned does have that criminal background. You're right. You're right. I mean, there's a lot of avenues to go with. But you know what? Song, I'm going to leave it up to you. A song in my heart. I'll leave it up to you. You make it happen. Whatever you start making happen, that's what we go with. Simple. Since you brought it up, you make it happen. But the Marine Corps has always been something about very important to me. It's given me a lot in my life, and I have nothing but gratitude to my service and to my country. There you go, Wilmo. Gunny. I wasn't a gunny, but hey, gunny will work. They used to call me. It's funny you say that. Oh my Lord. No, I don't even want to tell you. They used to call me. I was always one to know that I've always had gummy bears in my car, right? I know it sounds crazy, but even as a Marine, even as a kid, I always had gummy bears. I love gummy bears. I don't know why. I just did. Still do. And I used to go ahead, and when I was in the Marine Corps, my friends who we would go somewhere, and they'd go, man, you got anything? And I go, look in the glove box, be some gummy bears or something. And they go, man, gummy bears. And that kind of stuck. Gummy bear. So that kind of stuck with me. Really funny, but yeah. Oh, no doubt. I totally agree. You're very welcome, Agent Ann. Appreciate you. Thank you for the kind words. Absolutely. But yeah, gummy bear was definitely something that a friend of mine gave me, and everybody went with it. And then I've been called top, top heavy, big on the top, smaller on the bottom. It's whatever you want to do, song, whatever you want to go with. Doesn't bother me. As long as you guys are listening in here and kind of getting involved in the conversations, that's all that matters to me. Give me 1 second, everybody. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back, everybody. Oh, man. There it is. My God. It's right here. All right, talking to myself. Just bear with me, everybody. I have always really been known as Semper Fi. Capital SEMPERFI. Semper Fi. And I think that's what a lot of people know me as. But you know what? You guys make up your own mind. It don't bother me. Just be here. That's all I ask. And get involved in the conversation, because this could have been any one of our family members, any one of our loved ones, right? Any one of our loved ones. Song says, I was wondering if anyone has been released from Camp Clown College recently that maybe had a vendetta against Nancy's family. It's possible, honestly. Honestly, it's very possible. It's very, very possible. I mean, we've seen that story before, right? It's very possible that it could be a vendetta from somebody towards the family. I mean, that's very probable, actually. I've heard Nancy was a very outspoken person. I've heard she was a person who literally was not necessarily in a big way, but she was a mover and a shaker. I mean, here's this lady's tough, man. Make no mistake. I mean, talk about losing your husband when you're 46 years old and you got 3 kids to raise, one teenager, one adult, 2 teenagers, and then she has to get back into the swing of things of going to college and getting a degree and working. And yeah, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. So, yeah, I mean, kudos to her. Kudos to her. But, yeah, very smart lady. From my understanding, was very sweet, but could be very, could be very, yeah, gummies are far different now. You could go Mick. Semper Fi, I like that better. Gunny, I like. Mick is it's too home. It's too personal, I guess. So maybe go with Gunny or go with whatever you want. But yeah, try to keep my real stuff out of the loop, if you will. Okay, you guys got to hear this. So Wilmo says, I don't think it could happen to me. They would get more money collecting soda bottles, right? Hey, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. I am with you. Oh, that's funny. That is too funny, my friend. That is way too funny. Give me 1 second. You can go ahead and go with Gunny if you want, but Semper Fi really means a lot more to me, because that's who I am. I'm always faithful. Uh-huh. Okay. All right, bye. Okay. Wilmo says, Semper Fi it is. Just call me Semper Fi, everybody. That's what I've always gone by, to be honest. And if you don't like that one, then, you know, you can call me whatever. No worries. But that's who I've always been. The Marine Corps has been a big part of my life. So because of that, hey, I have no problems going with Semper Fi. And if that doesn't sound good for you, hey, call me whatever you want. Just know this, man. Everything I say and everything I do and everything I have done, I have always tried to be and give everybody the truth of how I see it, because the truth is very important, everybody. And I'm not going to go ahead, and I know you guys heard me say this before, but I'll say it again. I'm not going to call a baker to ask him how to change a motor. I'm not going to ask a plumber to tell me how to bake bread. All right. If I want to know something legally or something about, law enforcement, I'm going to ask a cop. I'm going to ask somebody that I may know, or a friend of a friend, or somebody who is giving that type of information. You're going to be able to tell. If it's somebody that's worth his salt, you're going to be able to tell right away, like, oh God, this guy legit. This guy knows some, he can tell he's been in the military. He's been in law enforcement. You're going to know. All right. So, and what bothers me the most is when I see people trying to give, when I hear people, I'm trying to be careful what I say, because let it come out the way it comes out. I want people to hear from somebody dependable, reliable, somebody who might have an insight as to why and how come. I take everything everyone says with a grain of salt, right? I don't know everything, never claim to know everything, but I do know stuff on how it works, how it operates, and what happens, and how I would handle things differently because of my experience. And that's not something that many others can say, unless you're talking from them coming out of prison or knowing the law better than a cop or whatever the case may be. It is what it is. So I'll just leave it at that. But call me what you want. Semper Fi is fine. Just know Semper Fi means literally, it means always faithful in the Marine Corps. And I've always been faithful to my country and the Marine Corps. So just remember that. That's all I need to say about that. Semper Fi it is. I didn't mean to put any personal stuff. No, you're fine. You're fine, Wilmo. No, you're fine. That don't bother me. That doesn't bother me at all. I was Mick for a long time, my friend. Mick has been my kid name. Mickey has been my kid name. This is who I am. But everybody who knows what I do and what I talk about and what I say, who knows me as Semper Fi. And I would hate to try to recreate that whole, thing. Yeah. But you got it. Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking song, I appreciate you. The song is in my heart. I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It really does. For you to even think of something means a lot to me. It really does. From all of you. All right. So let's get back. So that's pretty much where we're at, everybody. I tell you, I'd like to go live. Just with the people that are in here, and I know it's not like over a lot, but if you guys want me to come back later on this evening and do a live, just say yes. Live for yes and for no. Simple as that. Well, thank you so much, Song. And that's why I want you to be the one. Agent Ann says yes. Okay. How about you other ones? You guys want me to do a live later, like about 4 or 5 o'clock? That's going to be Eastern time. Okay. How does 5 o'clock sound for everybody? Or 4 o'clock? What's better for you all? 4 or 5? 4 or 5? I appreciate you, Song. I really do. It means a lot that you watch, and I hope that the content and what I have to deliver to you all is very, it helps you at least understand a little bit more. I really do. All right. What do you say, Song? What's the best time to do a live? 4 or 5 Eastern time? Right now, it is 1:37 here in Ohio, 1:37. $16. It's got to be this one here. Boy, I'm having a hard time finding this spot. Oh, Rich Street. All right. Wemo says yes. Song says 4. All right, everybody. We'll do one at 4. We'll do a live at 4. We'll do it at 4. I hope to see you all back here at 4. And just have some thoughts about what you think may be some people of interest. Because, look, sometimes law enforcement, they hear things, and sometimes they react on things, and sometimes they go with these things. You know what I mean? Sometimes they go ahead and literally will go ahead and they'll take feedback. I mean, make no mistake, they'll take feedback. Because here's the thing, if they haven't thought about it, then it's something that is very important. And that's how they look at it. That's how good law enforcement looks at it. What's this here? 7. What is that? All right, everybody. I am going to go ahead and just basically end this live. I'm going to tell you, everybody, thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much, Wemo. Appreciate that. Semper Fi to all of you. Yes, you will. Absolutely. To everybody in the live, thank you so much for going ahead and participating and getting involved. I appreciate every one of you. You guys mean a lot to me, literally. And it's only because I'm just trying to give you guys what I know. Short of that, you know what? I appreciate, and I'm telling you, this is going to grow. This channel is going to grow. It's going to grow because this is what it's about. It's about telling people maybe how to understand when you're dealing with these type of dilemmas. And that goes a long way. So with that, everybody, God bless you all. Take care. Remember what I always say, it's common sense. It's always common sense. I'll see you at 4. Semper Fi.